Now at 9, a truck carrying more than 6,500 chickens overturned on a sharp curve this morning, closing the road and resulting in the significant loss of livestock. Plus, parents of a fallen cowboy keep his memory alive on the second anniversary of his death. And 175 fourth graders celebrated Earth Day at Gun Park in Fort Scott, learning about conservation through 9 hands-on stations focused on protecting natural resources.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A chicken tragedy this morning on Highway A near Wheaton, Missouri. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. Around 8:30 this morning, authorities responded to an overturned truck hauling 6,500 live chickens. The roadway ended up closing to all traffic due to the vehicle overturning on a 90-degree curve. While the driver only suffered minor injuries, many of the birds unfortunately passed in the incident. The Newton County Health Department and other necessary agencies were contacted to assist with the cleanup. A third arrest has been made in connection with the homicide investigation in Berry County, Missouri. Nathan Bates of Purdy, Missouri, was arrested today and has been charged with tampering with physical evidence and abandonment of a corpse. Bates is in custody at the Berry County Jail with a $100 cash bond. Bates joins Brandy Coburn and Jimmy Taylor, both of whom are charged with first-degree murder and abandonment of a corpse. The charges stem from a death on or about March 11th on a house at a house in Verona. Authorities say Coburn and Taylor shot Marvin Lance McCullough, then transported the body in the trunk of a car to a farm and set it on fire. Coburn and Taylor are being held without bond. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at weather.
Well, we had some storms earlier today, brought a few showers and thunderstorms to the area. You can see we're starting to clear out, but overall, not too bad of a night. Now we do have clouds starting to push back in early through Saturday morning. You can see a few clouds kind of settling in from the north, and all these clouds that are pushing in along with these rain chances. Now those are holding off until a little bit later in the afternoon. You can see some scattered thunderstorms starting to push in to the western counties about noon to 1 p.m. as that pushes in further on the Kansas-Oklahoma side by about 3 to 4 p.m. and then continually moves in across the 4 states by 7 p.m., 8 p.m. We're going to be stuck with rain showers most of the afternoon to early evening on Saturday. You can see widespread rain and thunderstorms all the way through Saturday evening and even into Sunday as well. I'll have those details coming up.
Today marks the 2-year anniversary of the initial disappearance of Dakota Patton, a 23-year-old man from Parsons, Kansas. Clint and Kimberly Nybarger have since been charged in relation to his murder and disappearance, and both have entered plea deals in the case. But for his family, Dakota's legacy is not that of a victim, but rather that of a loving son and a skilled horseback rider. KOAM Samantha Walker sat down with the Patton family to learn how they're working to keep Dakota's legacy alive.
Dakota Patton's family liked to remember him as the determined cowboy he was.
Dakota would usually take the first ride, and even if he got bucked off, he would get back on and he'd go. And he was a good horse trainer.
In the 2 years since he's been gone, his family is reminded of not only his love for them, but for the animals he worked with every day.
This is Hidalgo, Dakota's horse.
Yeah. He loved that boy.
So I ride him most of the time now. It makes me feel closer to being with Hidalgo.
Right.
I know he loved that horse, and I don't know if I like riding him for him. It makes me feel like I'm with him still.
Now his memory also lives on through the Two Hearts, One Dream Arena, a project the 23-year-old was incredibly passionate about.
In order to keep his memory alive, Debbie and I worked on that arena out there, and that's something Dakota helped us with too. And we just got through, just before he passed, we just put in the return alley. He wasn't here when we finally got it finished, but it's complete now.
Dakota's parents, Debbie and Gregory, used the arena to help riders just like Dakota find their place on a horse. It's creating memories just like the ones they cherish of their son.
I know he's just looking around going, "You go, Dad." So this is what he wanted to do. So this is part of him right here.
A part of Dakota lies in the arena there for every rider to remember him by.
He had another horse, Max, and when we go over to his memorial, you'll see Dakota, and Max. Max was 33 years old, and he was the horse that Dakota won most of these events on, and he passed away last spring. So he's buried right in front of Dakota's ashes. Just a place to go to remember him, and then it's right there with the arena.
Dakota's father has also put together a poetry book in his honor, titled Once There Was a Cowboy.
It's just a family book, and it's got pictures of him and of the family in here, and it's just, I think it was a good way to let everybody know he was around.
With words he hopes will help keep Dakota's legacy alive forever, even if they're too hard to read aloud.
As the tears release, I feel the pain. I love you, son, but we'll never be the same. The emptiness I feel, I know will go away when again we ride together until the end of the day.
Reporting in Parsons, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Two Hearts One Dream Arena is now open to the public and riders of all ages. You can learn more about the Riding Arena and the family poetry book on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, around 175 fourth graders spent their Earth Day outdoors taking part in Conservation Day at Gun Park in Fort Scott. Students from Eugene, Ware, West Bourbon, and St. Mary's rotated through 9 hands-on stations, learning about soil, water, forestry, wildlife, and more, teaching kids the importance of protecting the world around them through engagement and exploration.
I have students that are now in high school that have come to this event, and they are in FFA. They are involved in many activities and 4-H and stuff like that. So and they remember stuff that they learned here, and I see them later on, you know, in a few grades as they've grown, and they remember it, and it really sticks with them.
The event is put on each year by the Bourbon County Conservation District, this being their 80th year. Turn to Pittsburgh, a special event pairing Pitt State football players with youth athletes from Special Olympics Kansas. The day focused on fun, inclusion, and friendship, giving around 60 athletes the chance to compete, cheer, and connect. For many of these athletes, it's a chance to feel seen, celebrated, and supported.
The athletes love this event. This is probably our most sought out event for our youth athletes every year, because they get to hang out with a college football team, and they love supporting their community, and it's really cool to see the friendships being built and all of the skills that they get to do together.
Despite the rain, the event was moved indoors to the Plaster Center, but the spirit of the day shined just as bright. Coming up, more than 105,000 Americans died after drug overdoses last year, and health experts say safely disposing of unused medications could help save lives. And a new study warns that measles could become a regular threat in the U.S. again if vaccination rates continue to fall. In health news today, tomorrow is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Officials say cleaning out the medicine cabinet and discarding medications you no longer need can remove the threat of potential harm. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on which medications are most dangerous to keep in your home unused.
It's a leading cause of injury and death in U.S. adults. Drug overdoses killed more than 105,000 Americans in 2023, according to the latest CDC data. But there's a way to make sure unused pills don't make it into the wrong hands.
Prescription medications, it can be very difficult to predict how dangerous they are if people take them when they're not prescribed specifically for them.
Dr. David Stream with the Alcohol and Drug Recovery Center at Cleveland Clinic says many times people who have opiate use disorder don't get pills from the street, but from the medicine cabinets of family and friends. He says it's also important to properly dispose of unused or expired medications to keep pets and young children safe.
Some really tragic things can happen.
Stream says some of the most concerning medications to properly discard are those with an overdose or toxicity risk. That includes pain medications, sedating drugs like sleeping and anti-seizure medicines, but also blood pressure medication.
People can take those who don't really need them. Blood pressure, heart rate drop dramatically, and people can become very critically ill very quickly.
An easy way to properly dispose of unused medicine is by taking part in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday.
Look through your old medications and get rid of the stuff that you don't need anymore.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration is hosting the event nationwide. To find a take-back center closest to you, go to dea.gov/takebackday. Well, the Trump administration is looking into cutting the 988 suicide prevention and crisis lifeline services for the LGBTQ+ community. According to an internal document from 2 weeks ago, the proposal pushes for slashing overall health spending and a reconstruction of health agencies. If this budget draft goes into effect, defunding special services for LGBTQ+ youth through the Lifeline could happen in October. The White House Office of Management and Budget did not comment on the issue. And a new study in the journal JAMA shows measles could become endemic, meaning it would be defined as a regularly occurring disease in the U.S. if vaccination rates don't improve. That's despite its declared elimination in 2000. Over a 25-year period, the researchers project almost 900,000 measles cases if rates stay the same. They forecast about 11 million in vaccinations decline 10% and more than 51 million if they drop by half. Vaccination rates are down in the U.S. since the COVID-19 pandemic. Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, Americans' fears of a recession and rising inflation are growing, with consumer sentiment dropping to one of its lowest levels in decades.
Well, we did have a few thunderstorms earlier today, but we've got a nice looking evening for the rest of tonight and through early tomorrow morning, but 4 more rain chances start to kick in. So there you go. We can see earlier this afternoon those thunderstorms that were moving across the 4 states. We'll let it re-loop there. We mostly were on the Missouri side. A couple got into near the Pittsburgh area, Coffeyville area, but all of these started to clear out, and then those clouds started to move out with them. However, we are going to see more clouds moving in overnight tonight and through tomorrow. But you can see we've got clear skies. You can see downtown Joplin also looking clear out there. Great looking night. Perfect evening if you want to have a night out on the town. You can see temperatures are going to be pretty mild. We're only dropping down through the low 60s through about midnight, 1 a.m. So not too bad of a night. However, clouds start to increase because we have more rain chances moving in. And those rain chances are going to be moving in early in the afternoon. About noon to 1 p.m. is when we're going to start to see these rain, scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms in our western counties. And then you can see how that spikes over in the Joplin area about 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. across for the rest of the afternoon. So we'll walk through that. Again, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in those far western counties on the Oklahoma and Kansas side. Those start to push in a little bit further by about 5, 6 p.m. You can see widespread rainfall across most of our central counties. A few of those northern counties may get a few sprinkles, maybe just some clouds, but you can see some thunderstorms kind of embedded in there. Non-severe, so we're not seeing a severe threat with any of these chances of rain over the next 24 hours to 36 hours. So that's for the rest of the weekend. This is about 11 p.m. on Saturday. You can see rain mostly on the Missouri side. It's still in that Joplin area, but those are going to clear out. Isolated showers here and there as we head into Sunday. Again, mostly just isolated, so a lot of us may even stay dry, get a little bit of sunshine there for the afternoon. Temperatures are back in the mid to lower 70s, and then we start to see our upcoming severe threat moving in Monday. Now we have partly to mostly cloudy skies on Monday, and then there goes our threat for severe weather. Got a cold front that's going to be moving in starting late Monday night around 9 to 10 p.m. and continuing to push in. So Monday through Wednesday is when we could have that strong to severe threat. This is Monday, so mostly in our western counties and mostly in the Kansas side. We could still see this changing as we get into Tuesday. That threat shifts for mostly south of I-44. Now you can see how the yellow still clips all of our counties. That's a less chance of severe threat, but still could be keeping an eye on that. And then we get into Wednesday, mostly staying south of us, but you can still see Oklahoma, Kansas, and even south of I-44 in Missouri could have some more strong to low-end severe threats. But let's go back to the weekend. We've got cooler temperatures on Saturday, warmer on Sunday, isolated rain chances Sunday, but those scattered thunderstorms to scattered rain showers on Saturday, and again, not severe for the weekend. We start to have that possible alert day Monday and Tuesday as those storms start to roll in late Monday night and through Tuesday.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Coming up, Fox Means Business.
Stocks are on a roll. I'm Jerry Willis with the Fox Business Network. More coming up.
Americans are still dreading a recession and rising inflation that's even after President Donald Trump paused his massive tariff hike on dozens of countries. The University of Michigan's latest survey found consumer sentiment plunged 8% in April from the month before. That was a slightly smaller decline than a preliminary reading from earlier this month, which didn't capture people's reaction to Trump's 90-day tariff delay, which was announced April 9th. Sentiment in April was at its fourth lowest level on record, which dates back to 1952. The market makes some gains in what one big toy maker is saying about Trump's tariffs. Fox Business's Jerry Willis has the story and more in tonight's Fox Means Business.
It's tic-tac-toe. Markets are up 3 days in a row, powered by a slew of strong earnings. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all up over 1%. And some big news, the S&P 500 has broken out of correction territory. The index is up 10% from the correction low on April 8th. Hasbro beating earnings expectations. Its CEO said while no company is insulated from tariffs, Hasbro is well positioned and supported by its licensing businesses and strategic flexibility. Hasbro also said it would continue to be the exclusive maker of toys, board games, and collectibles for Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel brands. 3 airlines, American, Alaska, and Southwest, are withdrawing their full-year guidance. American saying the economic uncertainty in the market has pressured demand, impacting both its first quarter results and second quarter outlook. Southwest Airlines also said it will cut flights in 2025. Alaska Air Group says that macroeconomic factors and a softening demand environment began to negatively impact results in February. That's a look at business. I'm Jerry Willis.
Well, one major airline joins forces with Uber to offer customers new opportunities to earn miles. Delta SkyMiles members can now link their accounts to Uber and Uber Eats to start earning miles. Members can enjoy 3 miles per eligible dollar spent on Uber reserved trips, 1 mile per eligible dollar spent on Uber X rides to and from the airports, and so much more. Customers who use their Delta SkyMiles American Express card on any of the qualifying Uber categories can also earn an additional 1 mile per dollar. And in the tech world, despite complaints about its price tag, there was no hesitation for fans to get their hands on the Nintendo's newest console. Pre-orders for Nintendo's Switch 2 went live Thursday, and already retailers including Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, and Target are sold out. The $450 console hits shelves June 5th. It's not known how many will be available to purchase for people who didn't pre-order. Later, newly discovered letter fragments suggest William Shakespeare and his wife Anne Hathaway may have lived together in London, challenging long-held beliefs about their marriage. Well, if you're a fan of Shakespeare, then it may interest you to know new details about the playwright. Fragments of an old letter are shedding new light on William Shakespeare's marriage to Anne Hathaway. Shakespeare married Hathaway in 1582, and the couple had 3 children. Experts have long thought the playwright left his family behind in Stratford upon Avon when he moved to London. Now, new findings from the University of Bristol may show otherwise. A professor who analyzed the long-forgotten letter said it suggests the couple lived together in London for a period of time around the year 1600, and that Hathaway was present and engaged in Shakespeare's financial and social networks. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, ceasefire deals in jeopardy.
President Trump is still pushing diplomacy as Russia escalates its attacks on Ukraine. I'm Rick Belk in London. That's my story coming up.
And a Milwaukee County judge is under arrest accused of helping an undocumented man avoid federal agents, sparking outrage and protest outside the courthouse.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
Top stories from around the world today, starting with the Ukraine-Russian conflict. President Trump's special envoy is back in Moscow on Friday as both Russia and Ukraine escalate their attacks. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more from London.
How are you, Mr. President?
Fine, just fine. Thank you. How are you?
Time could be running out to get a ceasefire deal in Ukraine, but the U.S. is trying another round of diplomacy. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff meeting with Vladimir Putin on Friday, just hours after Russia answered President Trump's stop message with another deadly overnight attack. Despite the uptick in violence, Trump says he's still committed to the peace process.
We're going to try and get out of war so that we can save 5,000 people a week. And that's what my aim is. I want to save 5,000 young men.
The main sticking point for negotiators, giving up Ukrainian territory. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says it's a non-starter, and he's pushing back strongly on Trump's plan to recognize Crimea as part of Russia. But some officials say it's not a concession, just an acknowledgement of political reality.
There is a difference, generally speaking, between legally saying it is part of another country or just acknowledging the fact that somebody has occupied that territory.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainians appear to be fighting back. On Friday, a senior Russian general was killed by a car bomb, the second attack on a top Russian officer in the past 4 months. The U.S. is now calling on both sides to back down and restart negotiations.
We'll see if the Russians are ready to make a deal. We'll see if the Ukrainians are ready to make a deal. But the president has certainly done everything he can to bring this to a resolution.
Presidents Trump and Zelensky will be in Rome tomorrow for the funeral of Pope Francis, though it's unclear if they'll meet. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
To our northern border now, Monday, Canadians will vote in federal elections. Canadians don't directly vote for Prime Minister. Instead, they vote for the lawmakers who represent political parties in respective areas. The party that ends up with the most lawmakers in Parliament will then form the government, with its leader taking the top role. Prime Minister Mark Carney, who took over after Justin Trudeau stepped down last month, is hoping to hold onto his title. His main competitor is Pierre Poilievre, Canada's Conservative Party leader. The Trump administration's tariffs and the effects those will have on Canada's economy are expected to be big issues for voters on Monday. And the FBI arrested Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan today. Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented male from Mexico avoid federal agents. According to a criminal complaint, the judge directed the agents to the chief judge's office and then escorted the man and his lawyer out a restricted jury door. The undocumented man was in court after being charged with battery. He's accused of beating up 2 people. Outside court Friday, protesters held signs and chanted words of support for the judge and the opposition to her being arrested. And the annual event where journalists and politicians laugh at themselves is taking place Saturday. The 2025 White House Correspondents Association's dinner will be held at the Washington Hilton. The association says the event will celebrate the First Amendment and the free press. Comedian Amber Ruffin, who has been critical of President Donald Trump, was originally announced as the headliner, but the board unanimously voted to remove her from the festivities. They ended up not picking a replacement. The Interior Department is looking to fast-track approvals for coal, gas, and critical mineral projects on public lands. After President Trump declared a national energy emergency, Fox Business correspondent Kelly Berry has more from Chicago.
One more step in the plan to unleash American energy. This will be an enormous expediting process to undertake. The Interior Department says a year-long process would be boiled down to approximately 2 weeks. And then for a full environmental impact statement, which is typically a 2-year process, that would be shortened to just 28 days. According to S&P Global, the U.S. is the second slowest country in critical mineral mine development, taking 29 years on average to do so, only second to Zambia. And the mining industry is praising the move.
What they've done is thrown out some of the absurdity about a 500-page environmental assessment and really started limiting that, not shortcutting the corners, but really eliminating the duplication and the time constraints.
On the other hand, some environmental organizations argue the White House is misusing its emergency powers if the White House attempts to bypass current environmental laws. But that aside, striking a balance of fast-tracking projects and remaining friendly to the environment, they say will require more resources.
Cutting staff, as we've seen, DOJ do with its, probationary firings and these resignations and deferred layoffs. If you don't have staff, you can't do a good environmental review.
Thursday, the president signed an additional executive order promoting the exploration of deep-sea mining. In Chicago, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
Lindsay is next with another complete look at your forecast. Plus, springtime means more bikes on the road, and local cyclists are reminding drivers and riders to stay alert and share the road safely.
Well, we did have a few thunderstorms earlier today, but we've got a nice looking evening for the rest of tonight and through early tomorrow morning, but 4 more rain chances start to kick in. So there you go. We can see earlier this afternoon those thunderstorms that were moving across the 4 states. We'll let it re-loop there. We mostly were on the Missouri side. A couple got into near the Pittsburgh area, Coffeyville area, but all of these started to clear out, and then those clouds started to move out with them. However, we are going to see more clouds moving in overnight tonight and through tomorrow. But you can see we've got clear skies. You can see downtown Joplin also looking clear out there. Great looking night. Perfect evening if you want to have a night out on the town. You can see temperatures are going to be pretty mild. We're only dropping down through the low 60s through about midnight, 1 a.m. So not too bad of a night. However, clouds start to increase because we have more rain chances moving in. And those rain chances are going to be moving in early in the afternoon. About noon to 1 p.m. is when we're going to start to see these rain, scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms in our western counties. And then you can see how that spikes over in the Joplin area about 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. across for the rest of the afternoon. So we'll walk through that. Again, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in those far western counties on the Oklahoma and Kansas side. Those start to push in a little bit further by about 5, 6 p.m. You can see widespread rainfall across most of our central counties. A few of those northern counties may get a few sprinkles, maybe just some clouds, but you can see some thunderstorms kind of embedded in there. Non-severe, so we're not seeing a severe threat with any of these chances of rain over the next 24 hours to 36 hours. So that's for the rest of the weekend. This is about 11 p.m. on Saturday. You can see rain mostly on the Missouri side. It's still in that Joplin area, but those are going to clear out. Isolated showers here and there as we head into Sunday. Again, mostly just isolated, so a lot of us may even stay dry, get a little bit of sunshine there for the afternoon. Temperatures are back in the mid to lower 70s, and then we start to see our upcoming severe threat moving in Monday. Now we have partly to mostly cloudy skies on Monday, and then there goes our threat for severe weather. Got a cold front that's going to be moving in starting late Monday night around 9 to 10 p.m. and continuing to push in. So Monday through Wednesday is when we could have that strong to severe threat. This is Monday, so mostly in our western counties and mostly in the Kansas side. We could still see this changing as we get into Tuesday. That threat shifts for mostly south of I-44. Now you can see how the yellow still clips all of our counties. That's a less chance of severe threat, but still could be keeping an eye on that. And then we get into Wednesday, mostly staying south of us, but you can still see Oklahoma, Kansas, and even south of I-44 in Missouri could have some more strong to low-end severe threats. But let's go back to the weekend. We've got cooler temperatures on Saturday, warmer on Sunday, isolated rain chances Sunday, but those scattered thunderstorms to scattered rain showers on Saturday, and again, not severe for the weekend. We start to have that possible alert day Monday and Tuesday as those storms start to roll in late Monday night and through Tuesday.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern baseball takes on Rogers State at Joe Becker Stadium. Plus, NEO men's basketball announces a head coaching change. Ben McLeish has those stories and more up next.
Carthage High School baseball has a 12-6 record through the first months of the season, and the Tigers have won 4 of their last 5 entering tonight. Carthage trying to start the weekend off with a 3rd straight win hosting McDonald County. Tigers starting pitcher Cooper Jackson gets settled in right away. In the top of the first, he strikes out the leadoff man, Persum Sosi, swinging, then uses a breaking ball to get the next batter, Axton Bateman, to strike out as well. In the bottom of the first, Zach Hohenschel puts a good swing on this ball, but it goes directly to the center fielder, Hayden Lett, who makes the catch. Jackson gets back to work in the top of the second. Chayton Banta goes down swinging, and so does Noah McDonald to end the inning. Jackson gets 4 punch-outs through just first 6 batters he faces, but the bats wake up later in the contest for both teams, and McDonald County takes down Carthage 14-10. Missouri Southern baseball is coming off a walk-off win against Pittsburgh State earlier this week, and tonight the Lions play at Joe Becker Stadium. It's Lions versus Hillcats, top of the first. Cole Gaiman strikes out the first batter of the game. He strikes out the side in the first, but the next batter, Andrew Ramirez, drives one deep to opposite field, and it's gone. That makes it 1-0. But the Hillcats hit 2 more homers in the first 2 innings to take a 4-0 lead. Bottom of the second, though, Lions have a runner on third, and Tragan Parker is gonna beat the throw out at first. A run comes home. It's 4-1. Rogers State gets 2 more in the third, but Drew Townsend hits this one in the gap for a double. Lions have runners on second and third. Next batter, Brandon Lukehart, is going to line this one right back up the middle for a single. 2-run score, and MSSU cuts the lead to 3. But the Lions can't mount the comeback. Rogers State wins this one 10-4. NEO Athletics announces this afternoon that its head men's basketball coach Jeremy Jackson is stepping down. He has reportedly accepted the same position at State Fair Community College in Sedalia, Missouri. Jackson took over as head coach for the Golden Norsemen in 2019, and during his tenure, they compiled a record of 159-53. In 2023, he was named Region 2 Coach of the Year. Blake Mills has been named the interim head coach for the 2025-2026 season. He's been an assistant on Jackson's staff for the past 3 years. Up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, round 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft is underway. The Chiefs selected Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons with the final pick of the first round last night. And with their first pick tonight, the Chiefs draft another tackle, this time on the defensive end, Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee. Norman Lott finishes his college career with 11.5 sacks. And with their first pick in the third round, the Chiefs select Ashton Gillott, edge rusher out of Louisville. Gillott racked up 26.5 sacks as a Cardinal, so the Chiefs are getting some guys that can rush the quarterback.
Yeah, but they still got Chris Jones, so you still got your big heavy hitter. So do they really need that much more?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can always use that physicality. In the Super Bowl, that was kind of, they got beat in the trenches against Philadelphia, so I think they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, good point. We'll be right back. With spring brightening our days, local experts say more cyclists are hitting the pavement, but with the rise in riders may come a reminder of the risks. This is why local bikers are sending friendly reminders to share all roadways. KOAM's Lonnie Walton has more.
So I have had some experiences when I've been riding, and the motorists, either a lack of education, not seeing us.
Mark Cox is the owner of Blues Bikes in Joplin. He says springtime is one of the busiest times of year when it comes to bike riding. With that said, he says, let's not forget to share the roads.
I have had some very close calls where mirrors have grazed me, and different incidents that have kind of been not as pleasant.
Debbie Johnson is a bicyclist and the owner of Bicycle Specialist in Webb City. She says she knows what to do if she sees someone not too happy to see her on the roadways.
I look and I see that they don't really look like they're really happy. I will move over a little bit. Otherwise, I will have them go on around.
According to MoDOT, most accidents happen in bigger cities, but more deadly ones happen in rural areas. Both experts offer tips to keep you safe.
State of Missouri, the law states that we should have a 3-foot area, we are considered a vehicle so that we follow all the same laws and regulations that you do in a car.
Keeping your head on a swivel, being alert, knowing what's going on around you.
And a local bicyclist says his community does a really good job doing that.
Yeah, I feel pretty safe. Yeah, here in the Joplin Webb City area, and there's a lot of good people in traffic watching, and they'll slow down sometimes.
Our experts have a few advice for you bicyclists out there as well.
See someone stop at a stop sign, it's always a good idea to wave and make eye contact with them, because if your hand is moving, then they're going to see that movement.
Main Street at 5 o'clock is not the best option to be on, as range line, as is 32nd Street.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
According to the League of American Bicyclists, Kansas ranks 21 in the country for bike-friendly states, while Missouri is one of the worst, ranking 49th in the country. Big movies, country music stars, and hit TV shows. Hollywood is packed with headlines you don't want to miss in Hollywood Nation. From star-studded treasure hunts to country stars lighting up the stage and hit shows returning, Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
How do you know that?
Because I've done this.
Krasinski and Portman go on a quest. Country music stars align, and Fox shows get renewals in the Hollywood Nation.
This season is going to be the best.
Fox is bringing back fan favorites. Lego Masters returns for a 5th season May 9th, with Will Arnett back as host. MasterChef kicks off its 15th Dynamic Duos season on May 21st, with Gordon Ramsay, Joe Bastianich, and new judge Tiffany Derry. Animated hits Family Guy and Bob's Burgers are also renewed for 4 additional seasons each. The Golden Globes set a date for 2026. The first major award show of next year airs Sunday, January 11th, 2026 on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. Comedian and actress Nikki Glaser returns to host the 83rd annual ceremony, taking place at the Beverly Hilton. Country music stars keep lining up to celebrate the 2025 Academy of Country Music Awards. 10 more performers have been added, including Entertainer of the Year nominees Chris Stapleton, Cody Johnson, and Kelsey Ballerini. Reba McEntire, who is also set to perform, will host the milestone 60th ceremony, streaming live from Frisco, Texas, May 8th on Prime Video.
Watch out! Coming through!
Apple TV Plus dropped a new trailer for the Guy Ritchie-directed adventure Fountain of Youth. John Krasinski and Natalie Portman star as estranged siblings, teaming up for a globe-trotting quest for eternal life. The film starts streaming May 23rd.
Told you it'd be an adventure.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of 2 cougar cubs playing at the Oregon Zoo. Have a great night.